Godzilla is the king of the monsters, and his signature attack is the atomic breath or radioactive heat ray. There have been many iterations of the blast used over his 70-year history, and today, in celebration for the upcoming Godzilla x Kong The New Empire, we'll take a look at what I think are his top 20 most powerful versions. The Heisei Godzilla's heat ray would evolve throughout the era and on this list. Its initial upgrade, the spiral heat ray, was needed when Godzilla nearly died, choking in the grasp of the 90s take of King Ghidorah. He would break free using a nuclear pulse, but it would be the spiral heat ray that would end the fight by blasting the center head off of the now two-headed space dragon. The flame-like atomic breath seen in Verse Megaguirus was a fairly average attack until he was finally able to land a direct hit on the nimble Megaguirus, causing it to burst into flames, and as it fell, he landed another shot that engulfed and finished off his opponent. The feat that is tougher to rank though is when he was able to stop the Dimension-Tide black hole. An impressive sounding achievement, but one that really doesn't tell us anything about the power of the attack. So here it is with a mention at number 19. This was a ruthless incarnation of Godzilla with a brutal heat ray. It had an explosive impact, a deadly accuracy against airborne targets, and it was capable of killing Baragon and Ghidorah, though Ghidorah was saved when Mothra gave her own life to power him up. As Godzilla reached burning status, his standard atomic breath was replaced with a fire-colored variant known as the Burning Heat Ray. It's a superheated form of the atomic breath that's highly explosive on buildings, and it can tear up parts of the perfect stage of Destoroyah, making it bleed from the chest and the mouth. The Gemstone Godzilla, who may just be the Heisei era's Godzilla Jr., has an insane blast for a standard atomic breath, and he can do quick controlled bursts not seen by any other version of Godzilla. A single blast tore a line in the city, while another one killed a Gigan Miles with ease. The base level heat ray in Godzilla Final Wars had killing power, taking out Gigan and Zilla, but it also had punch, lifting Hedorah and Ebra out of the water and high into the air before pinning them against a building, where a second blast from clear out in the bay would push the two a few blocks before all of it would explode, with 2 more fatalities to add to the list of the Final Wars Big G. The Heisei Mechagodzilla was protected from the atomic breath by a diamond coating, but after Godzilla was able to absorb the life force of a dying Fire Rodan, he was able to use a hyper-uranium heat ray, beam of over 1,000,000 degrees Celsius, that would destroy Mechagodzilla. The next evolution of the Heisei champion's atomic breath would appear as the Burn Spiral Heat Ray, a blast created when the King of the Monsters was able to absorb cosmic energy after Mogera destroyed Space Godzilla's shoulder crystals, one so powerful that it was able to blow up Mogera and kill Space Godzilla. Like Shin Godzilla, this is an evolving monster with many stages, but unlike the others, there's a bunch of mind-bending physics going on here, creating massive potential for higher forms. According to the novel, the beam is not even atomic in nature, and instead is more like a closed time-like curved molecular laser that converges and strengthens multiple beams from the future. Either way, it killed Jet Jaguar, killed a Rodan, and sliced Amanda with ease. It had a long charge up initially, but that buildup got faster with more uses. If this show got a sequel, I'm sure it would move up on the list or have better variants. Was this Gorath the asteroid, or simply a vessel that was carrying Monster X? It's not anywhere near the size of the Gorath that appears later in the list, but blowing off the outer shell of something that is cruising through space with that much momentum is no easy task, even for the Hyper Spiral Heat Ray. Just look at the crater that was made from the impact. Shin Godzilla's use of the heat ray was unprecedented for the franchise and would go on to inspire the Godzilla of Singular Point. This focused purple beam cut through city blocks, melting and slicing as it divided everything that it touched. And it's not only fired from its mouth, as the beams can also be fired from all over its back and from its tail. A wild set of blasts. The Shin featured in Godzilla vs. Evangelion, the real 4D, had a ray that won a beam lock with the new iteration of King Ghidorah, causing a massive explosion that, when cleared, left no trace of Monster Zero. This is another beam with more potential than what we saw on screen. The infinite heat ray is just that. With each use, it gets infinitely hotter. Even so, there is a limit. Godzilla can't last long before dying while in the meltdown stage. You can't measure the heat put out here. It's off the scale. But the blast tore off large pieces of Destoroyah and heated it up enough that the ultra-low temp weapons could bring it down and kill it. The attacks of Godzilla Filius are insane. They power up quick and are able to hit targets airborne or on the ground with deadly speed and accuracy and an impact that shakes the ground for miles. We don't get to see the attack used much in the series, but many of the feats from Godzilla Earth and his atomic breath were done while he was at the size of Filius, at only 50 meters tall. Unfortunately, what I'll call the nuclear blast atomic breath in GMK takes place off screen, but we do see its effects, a massive mushroom cloud accompanied by a blinding light and shockwave that are both seen and felt for miles. The standard breath attacks never showed this kind of power, and whatever did this deserves a spot on this list. I absolutely love the special state of Gemstone Godzilla. It's like a controlled Heisei burning state, which makes sense if he is, in fact, Godzilla Jr., as he absorbed the life force of the dying burning Godzilla. Either way, while in this special state, he glows white with a burning-like pattern, and has an atomic breath of increased power, one that was able to slice Megalon in half while also cutting a line in the city, and one that killed Gigan Rex, a kaiju powered up by multiple other Gigans. GMK's Ghost Godzilla was able to kill kaiju and create mushroom clouds, but when the raging Goji was able to absorb a volley of King Ghidorah's gravity beams, he channeled them into the Gravitational Atomic Breath, a powered-up attack with Ghidorah's yellow lightning energy spiraling around it, one that was able to blow his nemesis to pieces. Losing the battle and in the grasp of Kaiser Ghidorah, Ozaki would empower Godzilla with Kaiser energy, allowing him to unlock the burning G-Spark heat ray, an atomic breath attack that was a kinetic powerhouse, lifting and pushing the massive 100,000 metric ton beast into space, where it then blew him up. Final Wars was the 50th anniversary movie, so Final Goji was meant to be a beast, and was the top standard for the attack for quite a while, until the recent resurgence to the franchise where newcomers have taken the attack to another level. Legendary's Godzilla is not known for a powerful atomic breath outside of the Kiss of Death, but in GVK, the threats were increased, causing Godzilla to reach new power levels. Sensing the energies that were activated as Kong placed his axe into the floor, the Big G would tear into the ground with an earth drill-like beam that tore through the surface and down into the Hollow Earth. The attack would drain him of a lot of his power, and he may have tapped into some of the Hollow Earth energy to produce such a blast, but it was earth-shaking nonetheless, putting it at number 3 on the list.
Oh, Godzilla's responding!
Inspired by the nuclear blast from GMK, -1's atomic breath, in my opinion, is an assault like no other in the current live-action universes. The charge up with the dorsal fin standing up before hammering down to release the beam only adds to the effect. Not only is the end product of the attack a literal dropping of the atomic bomb, but on the way to its target, the massive beam annihilates buildings, land, and even hills and mountains. When fired in the water from below the Takao, it showed no ill effect, instantly destroying the vessel. According to the novel, the breath is so hot that it sublimated the iron of the ship, as well as the buildings in Ginza, while creating a shockwave that tore up anything in a 6-kilometer radius. And in case you're wondering, sublimated means turning something solid into a vapor state. And at number 1, I have to say that it's hard to beat an atomic breath that is produced by a 300+ meter tall Godzilla, especially one that still does this kind of damage when you successfully deflect it. Like Filius, the beam is not fired from the mouth, but rather from in front of the mouth off of its electromagnetic field. In Monster Planet, it takes ships out in orbit with pinpoint precision and does heavy damage to mountain ranges. In City on the Edge of Battle, the attack annihilates Mechagodzilla City along with his building heat. And in Planet Eater, the atomic breath destroyed all 3 of Ghidorah's portals. In the prequel novels, the attack killed multiple kaiju or wiped out entire cities the size of LA in a single blast. And when mankind buried Godzilla Earth in Operation Great Wall, he would use the beam to cut through the Himalayas in order to escape. To be honest, I could have given Earth the top 2 spots if you count the crimson-colored spiral beam that he charged up for 5 years so that he could destroy the approaching Gorath asteroid, one much larger than the vessel that carried Monster X, as it had a mass equal to that of our moon. For an honorable mention that nearly made the list, there's the Showa atomic breath used to fly Godzilla and Hedorah through the air that lifted a combined weight of 68,000 metric tons. Now with Godzilla x Kong the New Empire only days away, I'm sure I'll get to come back and update this list again. But for now, I'd like to hear your list of the most powerful atomic breath attacks. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time.